Hey there, how you doing? So here's the reality. I want to make sure that you have just a little bit of clarity as to why do I like this tool so much? What makes me excited about it? And, am I saying is it's the end all for the ultimate CRM? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that for the price point, for what it can do, for the amount of tools that it can plug into, and how flipping easy it is to use and navigate and walk yourself through, I just don't know that there's another tool out there that I trust as much as this. And just so that you can get an idea for my background with it, I did a face-off years ago between this tool and Salesforce in a company I own as I was deploying a CRM for my clients, yeah, they were my clients. They were my sales reps, my employees. And the reality is that is bells and whistles filled as Salesforce is, as other CRMs are, the reality is that if it's not easy to use, if it's not intuitive, if you can't just move your fingers around it and kind of glide, then it's not a good tool. And that's true for any tool that you want to use. And the reasoning behind that is simple. It's really, really easy to get what we think is the best in the market. It's easy to spend money on what we think will give us kind of the biggest bang for our buck. But at the end of the day, if we don't use it, who cares? Literally. So if we don't use the tool, then who cares? So I'm going to walk you really, really quickly through Pipedrive, and I just want you to kind of take a look at it. We have become an affiliate for it. That doesn't mean that we're going to get filthy rich off of this thing, but it absolutely does mean that you go through this link that we provide, and yes, we will absolutely be paid in pennies for you using it. I think the greatest value that that happens is that we through this link you get an extended trial. And why do you want an extended trial? Because it's free, first of all, and more importantly, that gives you more days before you start paying for it to be able to kick the tires around, to kind of sift through it and figure it out and make sure that you can configure it to something you like. Okay, great. So let me just tell you, I've logged in. This is the user interface. So this is kind of the first thing that we're going to see when we log in. It can't get easier than this. I'm just going to walk you through what I love about it. So I'm not really going to walk you through this thing in depth, but I really will walk you through what I love about it. So we get a new prospect, we get off the phone, and now we get to add a deal. So the contact person's name is Jessica, we'll say Smith, right? Organization is ABC House. Okay, so that's the name of the company. And now both of these pieces of information are added to our database. So now we're building a database as we're adding a deal of people that we've spoken to, prospects, etc. Deal value, I'm gonna sell her a VIP day, right? So a strategy intensive day, it's $10,000. That's what she's a prospect for. And I'm in phase 1. I expect to close this on December 31st, and I'm gonna save it. So you see what happens is that automatically this goes into phase 1. Now, what I will tell you is that I've created these phases. So if you see here, we have a couple of phases, and I will just kind of quickly come here. As I was demoing this before, I will show you how you can customize the phases. And you know that I teach in these 5 phases, which is first we need to get a suspect. After we get a suspect, we need to move them to having a conversation, having, getting them to secure an appointment, a time with us. And then we can have the discovery. So I can change the language here, and I can say, okay, this is discovery, and I'm gonna say we ask questions, or we find facts. Okay, and let me fix that. Okay, great, so we find facts. And you see, I get to define and describe the stages of my sales cycle. You can have more, you can have less. I've decided that for this generic, everyday, everybody can use, the 5 phases are suspect, then we move them to securing an appointment, then we move them actually into the appointment, discovery and find facts, and then we move them into the prove it, the story, and then after that, we move it into the close, right? Close me, the ask. So now what's really, really cool is that we could do a couple of things. I could add a stage, and I can add a pipeline. So I'll tell you what that means in just a moment. So the pipeline that we're in right now is the inner circle. That's what I've named it. And I can name it other things. I don't really have any other, but let me show you what's so cool about that. So here's that deal that we just did. Let's add another deal so that we can you know, really see it. So Tiffany, what's up with me and eyes? You see that? Tiffany Watson, and this is GHJ Build. It's the name of the company. Deal value, $15,000. Close date, 22nd, boom. Okay, what's really, really great. So now this is where the fun begins. Now I get to look at my pipeline and say, oh, okay, great. I have $20,000 in a person that I can close. I can dig down and say, oh, here's information about this person, right? So this is information I've added about Nora Jones. It tells me what's happened, when the deal was created, who it was created by. I can keep track of emails. I can keep track of the proposals I gave to them, etc. Now, what's really, really great is that I kind of wake up on a Tuesday morning. I'm like, okay, great. Where do I start? What do I do next? And I can take this suspect and I can now say, okay, great. You're not just a suspect, but we've spoken on the phone and now you're an appointment. I've moved you into an appointment. And this allows me to keep a running total of how much revenue I have in each phase of my business. And the reason why this is so important is because it then allows me to say, oh, okay, great. This is how much opportunity I do and don't have. And then more importantly, when you have a conversation like me, you're saying to yourself, oh, okay, great. Here's the reality. I really and truly need to kind of, how do I say? I really and truly need to take the time to look at what I would say is what's going to be my greatest opportunity to make more money by the end of the month. Right? Where can I move people? So it's like, if I know if everybody's here, then I know that I've spent time talking to people, but I'm really not asking the question, right? I'm not asking for the sale. If I have everyone here, then I know, oh my gosh, I got to get on the ball. I got to start making appointments. I have $32,000 worth of opportunity sitting here, and I owe it to myself, and I owe it to my prospects, and I owe it to other people to be able to tap into this one key thing and say, okay, I got to get to work. And here's specifically what I need to get to work doing. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. One of the other things that I love about this, and then I'll kind of be done. This down here. So when I grab this, I have the opportunity to put this opportunity in the trash, to say I lost it, to say I won it. Why do you want to say you won or you lost? It's so easy for us to keep track of the revenue that we get, but it's also really, really important for us to keep track of the revenue that we don't get. To keep track of who doesn't close, to keep track of who says no. Why? Because believe it or not, that's really where your best programs will come from, your new offerings will come from, because you'll figure out, why did they say no? Why didn't they take me up on the opportunity? And or what did I do wrong? And once you can master and understand, okay, great, this is what I did wrong, then it'll make it stupidly easy for you to build a relationship, if you will, or to build your relationship with discovering new products, offerings, and services in your business. So that way you can go back out, meet the market, and close up the holes, close up the holes as to why you didn't win in business. Now, one of the other things I'll say, which I just, I think it's great, is that now if I can take this and I say, great, I won it. So you see how it highlighted and it said one, I actually now can then go to an idea. I can see statistics about my company, really easy. I mean, listen, this is under $15 a month. So it's like, or 12 or something like that. I mean, literally, it's such a no-brainer that it's one of those, if you're not tracking your prospects, your conversations, your opportunity, I can't find a tool that's easier than this. I've had others show me, and I've used them, and we test out periodically all types of tools, because I want to make sure that if we're recommending them, that we've used them. The truth is that I've been writing about Pipedrive for years before we became an affiliate. So it actually has nothing to do with the fact. They actually approached me and were like, hey, you write about this, and at that point, yes, absolutely. It totally made sense. So let me just say this, I get to see the deals that I won. If you're running a company with multiple people on your team, you see how it can show you who's here, which is also really, really cool, because you can now see by the person, by the sales reps, by the employee, by the company, who's doing what, and what does that mean for me? the new deals that I've started, we started these before, I've won these, this is what I just won, and here it is. So now you can kind of get a feel for, okay, great. Now I get to track this by today, yesterday, this week, last quarter. You can do for the year, custom period. One of the other things that I love about it is that if I did have other opportunities loaded or other pipelines loaded, I'd be able to search within a specific pipeline, or I'd be able to search in general to see other pipelines that I might have. So now hopefully you've kind of gotten a good feel for, oh, you know what? I was going to finish, but I can't. Dun, 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 dun. So I absolutely have to show you what's really, really great is that this is great. It's called Pipedrive Mail. And what's great is that the tool has a little tutorial, but I'll just kind of sum it up for you really, really quickly. You can fully sync your email. So if you're using Gmail or something like that, you can totally sync the accounts. So that way, as you're emailing prospect out of your Gmail, it's absolutely, it's absolutely already, how do you call it? It's already preloaded where it's going to update. It's going to come back to your CRM over here and update it. But what's really great about this is you see your company gets its own email address. So here's mine, right? This is a test account that we can add to a Bcc field. So think about your email. You're sending out an email. If you literally just copy and paste this into your Bcc field, what will happen is that it will go and find the prospect, and it will make sure that the conversations are being tracked in your CRM. Does it get easier or better than that? What's great is that I can send my first email where it'll automatically pre-fill it into my location or into the email provider that I'm using. And more importantly, instead of me having to remember, because sometimes you just send out a quick note, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just send out a really super quick note from your email and it's like you forget to update it. You don't want to have to think about it. It becomes cumbersome. And I think this is so super slick because of the fact that it will allow me to, look, we're getting tons of Facebook posts. It'll allow me to really take the time and make sure that I'm not missing any activities with prospects or with people who I'm engaged with or people who I want to connect or build with. I'll show you this one last thing. So call, right? So this, I'm scheduling an activity. For myself, I'm going to do it for 9:45 for about an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm linking it to ABC, ABC, because we do have a deal. Perfect. You see how I automatically populated it? She needs me to follow up. Boom. So now I know I have this activity that I need to do. Here it is. It's really black and white. I can see what's overdue. I can see the phone calls that I need to make. So I just the phone calls, meetings that I need to have. I don't have any meetings, so it's not loaded. But here's all activity, and I get to see when that needs to happen. And what's great is that I don't have anything else loaded for this week. But what's awesome is that I now get to really keep track of what I need to do, my task, how I'm doing it to make sure that I don't miss a beat. So this is just a quick, couple of minute moment in time in which I say, hey, this is exactly why I love Pipedrive, why I think it's a great tool, and more importantly, why this, the ability to grab it and the ability to grab it, let me just say this, the ability to grab it and extend your trial out past 30 days, 45 days, so that way you can really kick the tires around this thing, see if it worked, and you feel good about it, then you know that you've been able to configure it, really kind of work out the kinks, get over the learning, and they have a ton of tutorials before you start investing. So under $15 a month, and you win, and you track, and you make more money. All right, so that's it. That is why we love Pipedrive and why you should totally take up the opportunity to grab this extended trial. And also for our community, I'll say this, for our community and Onwards to Freedom, because I know the tool so well, I'll be able to either answer questions and or if you're part of our world, if you're using our link to track, we'll also make sure that we can play a part in helping you to win with it. See ya.